here we go. Moving on to stage 3. This is really starts to separate people who kind of had an idea of how to punch and people who really know how to punch, from the pros and the best fighters. We talked about last time, we talked about attaching our hips to our punches. In other words, as we punch, we rotate into the punch. And that's good stuff. And honestly, it's a much better punch than just hitting the arm. But really the ultimate goal is separation. And what do I mean by that? Many of you know my son is an outstanding baseball player. He's one of the top pitchers in the state of Florida, just 12 years old. And when he pitches, all good pitchers, what do? Full up, rotate, rotate, move, move, all this weight shifting, all this rotation. But what's the last thing they do? Is throw the ball. Punching, proper punching is the exact same thing. Instead of, you wouldn't see a pitcher throw the ball and turn his hips at the same time. You can't get the velocity. So when I throw a punch, I don't want to move my hand at the same time as I turn my hip. It actually is the last thing I do. So when I throw a proper punch, my weight shifts forward. I turn, and the last thing I release is the punch. Same thing as I come back with the hook. I come down, boom. I start the rotation of the hip, and the very last thing I do is throw the hook. So instead of just having our hands attached to the hips, they move independently of my body. 2 or 3 things happen here. One, I definitely have a faster, more impacting punch. There's no question about it. You just end up hitting harder and with a lot more speed. But 2, it doesn't take as much energy. I think most of you guys would probably remember, if you're my age group, the Ali Foreman fight, and how Foreman just boom, 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 turn them hips, and just did all those power punches with his body that just kicks your butt. And why he ran out of gas in 6 or 7 rounds. To where Ali is the exact opposite. He punches in a way that's independent. That doesn't take nearly as much energy. You can throw a lot more punches, you hit a lot faster, you hit a lot harder. So, this is a never-ending endeavor. Get in front of the mirror. Work on shift, turn, release. Shift, turn, release. And then over time, you'll start getting the hip motion along with the independence of the hands. All right, so I'm Graden. Stage 3, lifetime endeavor.